with my rainbow ghost glasses. And if you are on YouTube, you can see my Cryptid Appreciation Society silly shirt. Cryptid Appreciation Society may or may not be real. Who knows? But cryptids may or may not be real as well. So does that make the society also a cryptid? I'll let you figure that out. Welcome back to the podcast. I want to do a quick recap of what's been going on the past couple of weeks and also brag a little bit about my challenge participants because they are rocking it out, and also share an interesting story that came up yesterday when I was at a BNI meeting. BNI is a networking organization for businesses and business owners. So we will get to that as well. First, the update. So a couple weeks ago, I was in Tucson, Arizona with Inked Goddess Creations, the founder, Morgan Moss, her husband, Colin Moss, and the entire in-person IGC team, plus a few helpers. And we put on the Witches Bazaar, which was the very first event of its kind that Inked Goddess Creations has hosted. And it was absolutely incredible. And I just want to share a little bit of the success that my client had. So Morgan just kind of came up with this idea of doing a Witches Bazaar after she put together the monthly subscription box for a few months ago. Inked Goddess Creations has a witchy subscription box that they've had since, gosh, I don't even know. It's like 6 or 7 years old. So they've had it a long time. And the theme a few months ago was the Witches Bazaar. And it was very cool. Like all the items were kind of like Diagon Alley type things. So I can't remember everything that was in there, but it was just absolutely amazing. I actually, now that I think about it, I might have, I have the little info card. So yeah, we had like a magic mushroom, log votive candle, gemstones, some herbs, bath and body oil, which smells divine, blood of thine enemies tea. Some of these products are still available on their site. Sorry, that's Trudy scratching. Because of course, you know how it is. Like we just accept our puppies and our kitties and all that here at Good Business Witch headquarters. For now, there's only one dog, however. Anyway, so it was just like a really fantastic box. And she was like, you know what? I want to make this a thing in real life. And so she just decided that we were going to do a bazaar. And I have been meaning to go out to Tucson and visit her family, visit the company headquarters and all of that. And I was like, you know what? I will come out to see this. I will come out and help you work. It was phenomenal, y'all, because her thought was that it was going to be something kind of just like for local customers and local community. Well, it turns out that, thank you, Trudy. It turns out that I guess a couple of local press outlets picked it up as well as like a cool thing to do for the weekend. And literally within 15 minutes, there was a line out the front door, and there was a line for 4.5 hours of the 6 hours of the event. And when I tell you I was exhausted, that doesn't even begin to tell you what it was like. I'm so glad I didn't have a podcast episode scheduled for last week, because I would have shown up and been like, rah, rah. I'm making a really great face on YouTube, by the way, if you're not watching it. Anyways, I just would have been like crawling my ass to the microphone and been like, okay, guys, I don't have anything for you today because I don't have anything for me today. Somehow I made it through last week. It was crazy. I took lots of naps. It took the whole weekend, this previous weekend, for me to recover from it because it was just so busy. I had never worked a booth or a table at any sort of event. I certainly haven't worked at one where there were like probably 2,000 people rather than the 600 to 1,000 people like we kind of thought we were going to have. I was selling and whining and dining folks on new products and giving recommendations for magical items and all of that. One of my favorite questions was, I'm going to start doing some shadow work. So like, what would you, which of these candles would you recommend? And so I just kind of checked them through. I made like 4 or 5 recommendations kind of based on like, if they were going to do like inner child work, or if they were going to do work on their sexuality and personal identification, or if they were wanting to connect with ancestors while shadow working. So like all those things. It was a freaking blast. I loved it. And I also think that next year here in DFW, I may look into doing some local events as a reader, because that just sounds like fun. And just being around so many magical people, meeting so many small business owners, different vendors like jewelry makers. And there's this amazing store that created like handcrafted wooden like wall shelves for like crystals. Like I know you've seen them, like you can grab them on Amazon or Earthbound Trading Company, where it's like a moon shape and there's like shelves in it and it's for your crystals or magical supplies. Well, he handcrafts them all and they're just stunning. And I was like, I am flying back to Dallas tomorrow. I cannot take one of these with me. So I got his card and everything, but there were readers. I got an aura photograph done. I'm going to show you really quick. So if you're just listening to the podcast, you might want to pop over to about 7 minutes in on the YouTube channel. I don't know if that's going to show up all that well, but my aura was like this beautiful green blue, and just confirmed a lot of things about my abilities as a teacher and a healer and a psychic. And she was just like, you're just like this earth mama. I just love it. I'm like, oh, thank you. So that was exciting. And it really, among other things, the whole experience, but also that aura photograph just kind of confirmed some things. So I've got some things coming for y'all in 2025 that are going to be less of the witchy thing. No, scratch that. They're going to be less of the business witchy thing and more of just the witchy thing. So, you know, I love to teach. I love to share information. So it'll be a lot of teaching stuff. It'll be a lot of divination, all that. And of course, like as a business owner, like your business is part of your life, of course, right? And like the lines between the two they're not always the hardest lines or the clearest lines. So it'll be a space where business owners, witchy business owners, are also welcome, of course. But we're going to be talking less about like what to do in business and more just about like how to be a magical person. So anyways, that's foreshadowing several months ahead. What's been going on in my business this week, however, is the Chaos to Calm Challenge. It's 3 days to tame your marketing madness, and it has been such a wonderful experience. I just shared a few hours ago on my Instagram a quick reel celebrating the donation that we were able to make to World Central Kitchen as well. So I love doing a paid challenge where it's not a whole lot of money. $6 is really doable. I mean, I think the Witch's Brew Sonic drink was like around that, which was really good, by the way. If you haven't tried it, like grab it before the season is up. But it's just a little bit of money. It kind of reminds people that they are investing in something, even though it's not something that's super pricey. So they're more apt to show up for themselves and show up for the challenge, which is amazing. And then being able to turn around and gift that money to World Central Kitchen, who is an organization that I think has been around since 2017. I have been supporting them since 2019. And some of the natural disasters that happened in 2019, 2020. And yeah, we were able to donate $60 to them. So that's one of their kind of standard, like suggested donations anyway. It's the second one up. So that made me really happy to see that as well. So I just want to shout out to those challenge members. They have been absolutely incredible. They are now forever members of the Good Business Witch community, which I have on Discord. I'm actually going to drop that link into the show notes. So if you want to join the community as well, because by the time this gets to you, we will be wrapping up the challenge. So I would love to have you in there. And I just want to create this beautiful space for business owners and community members to interface with one another, support one another, and just nurture each other. So yeah, you should totally join. It's awesome. It's free. And then finally, oh yeah, so the BNI story. So that was so interesting because that is like one of those more traditional business networking groups, right? So BNI has been around, I guess, 40 years is what they were saying yesterday. And so I went actually with my husband because he is a member of a local chapter. And I was like, you know what? Let's go check it out. So I was chatting with the chapter leader, president. I don't know. It felt very formal for me, and I met a lot of really great people, but I don't think that particular chapter is the best for me. Anyway, so I'm talking with him, and he this was at the end of the meeting, so he knew that what I did, I got to do a little 45-second elevator pitch, little pitch myself, which was very cool. It was fun to practice. It was a little difficult to do, but like in a good way. It was like a good stretch. Anyway, he was like, yeah, there might be a conflict of interest here in this group with what you do, but, there are other chapters, blah, blah, blah. And I talked to my husband afterwards. I was like, what did he mean? Like, sometimes the business name, The Good Business Witch, like strikes people as like, the good business what? And they have kind of this view of witches as being a negative thing. And so I found out there's actually another gal already in there who specializes in brand management and TikTok. And I was like, wow, but I don't do brand management. And I certainly don't do TikTok. I focus on Instagram, Facebook, lead generation, and your email list. And, like SEO content, all that. And I really position myself as a marketing strategist, talking about my chaos to calm marketing method, which puts a lot of it on repeat for you. But that was perceived by outside world that it might conflict with her. So one of BNI's big deals is that they absolutely they have assigned seats, assigned chairs. And so once it's filled, nobody else with that job description can come in. And it was just so interesting to me because I'm like, wait, if she does brand management and TikTok and I do completely other things, how much of what I do is still confusing to people, right? And so I really was thinking about it in terms of, what lesson can I take from this? Because it might be too much of an overlap, I understand. But out in the larger world, we would complement each other a whole lot. We wouldn't really run over each other's toes. The larger lesson here, though, is, are we being as clear as we could be about what we do? And one of the things that comes up for my clients, my colleagues, and pretty much anybody that's creative is we love our words. We love our niche words. We love to get really esoteric sometimes. Even my clients who are life coaches love to use their kind of branded words. And that's okay sometimes, but it's not great for elevator pitches, for quick messages about what you do, who you are. And we can never overstate the importance of the details of what we do, who we are, and how we bring transformation to our clients and customers. Because people's attention span is this big. And there's a lot of preconceived notions around it, right? It's like if I were to say sales, like a sales manager, what would you think of? Because I know as soon as I hear sales manager, I think car dealership. And that's really unfair to like anybody outside of a car dealership. And there's a lot. So it's like when you say marketing, like what does that mean? When you talk about, you're a yoga teacher, like what does that sound like to other people? When you could actually say something like, I am a holistic healer who uses yoga and Reiki, let's say, to help people gain their mobility. Wow, that's huge, right? Because you've given me a little bit of details in a very short amount of time. Like I may not know exactly is entailed in yoga or Reiki, but I understand holistic healer and I understand regaining mobility. Do you know what I mean? So if as you're kind of moving through your week, or if you're talking to people, like how could you explain what you do to like a third grader? Some people say a fifth grader, some people say like kindergartner. I think a kindergartner is a little too low on that. But like a third grader, like what would you say to a third grader about what you do? And my apologies ahead of time if you like, I don't know, you're a sex therapist or something, and that gets really weird to think about. So assuming you're not something like that in your professional life, how would you explain it to a little kid? Like, how would you explain marketing? How would you explain yoga? How would you explain candle making? Like, how do you say that? Like, how do you put those in words that are really easy to understand? Because when we're going fast, when we're moving quickly through life, when we're meeting people on the fly, we need to be able to just bam, 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 quickly say what we do and what we mean so people understand it. Anyway, that is what I have for you this week. I am thrilled because it is the weekend before Halloween and I will be at the Day of the Dead Fest locally. We're also, we got to go get some candy for the cute little trick-or-treaters. We usually don't give out candy because our neighborhood has been pretty quiet, but now our neighborhood is getting younger again, which is really fun to see. So I think we're going to set up a couple lawn chairs on the driveway and pass out candy. So I would love to know what you're going to do with your Halloween. So feel free to reach out to me or comment below and let me know what you're up to. Also, let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for the show. And again, I would love to see you inside the Good Business Witch community. It's our Discord server. And we just kind of got it started recently. My son, Danny, is actually one of the moderators as well. So you would be able to interface with him, ask him any questions. He's like my admin over there. And he manages a lot or moderates a lot of Discord servers. So he is a pro at that. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend, and I hope that you are able to achieve all that you set out to achieve this week. And until next time, my friends, stay magical.